So I've always wanted to start a journal to document my adventures, to look back on my moments in life, and to keep track of habits so I can build some level of consistency. But I find writing things down a little bit limiting and a little bit boring, quite frankly. So I've decided to make a new series. I want to document my adventures, the highs and lows, reflectively, by sitting down each evening and thinking about who my most interesting person was, who my hero was for the day, as well as the most interesting story, the most interesting moment, and whatever lessons or feelings that came from that day. But also I want a section where I can reflect on these habits, these things I need to get done, and if I achieve them, if I put any amount of time into them, and use it to anchor myself on my adventures so I can keep myself accountable with anyone who chooses to watch, and to look back on these days, these moments of the adventure, and what I'm doing right now. I love telling stories of my adventures, but the best way of capturing it is as soon as they happen, and I think doing it in the evening works very well. So yeah, that's the idea. I'm here in Montevideo. I just camped at this park. We are right by the beach. Not the beach, we're right by the coast here. And I thought there's no other better day than to start this series. I'm gonna try and do it each evening. Because I think the evening's the best time for this. Though, yeah. So this is me announcing it, and we're gonna do the first one, the first day. So yesterday, I was staying with a local near La Paloma here in Uruguay. I stayed with her a few nights actually. I wanted somewhere I can focus, I can ground myself a little bit, get to know a local, and try and really get the clogs, the wheels turning to build momentum for this next chapter of my life. So my original plan coming to Uruguay was getting a temporary residency, working here for a bit, building a bit of life experience and all, making friends while being here, and then eventually deciding somewhere else to go. But it actually took a year, including breaks to travel. It took a whole year. Last January was when I decided I was going to do this, and then getting all the paperwork sorted, including some travel breaks and interruptions. It took 6 months, and I traveled a bit more. And I came down here I came down to Argentina in late November, and late December was when I arrived into Uruguay. So yeah, now I've not decided I'm doing that. I think it's a bit limiting. It takes too long, the paperwork. So instead, I want to find a remote job, something remote I can do, something that I think really fulfills me, gives me a little bit of a sense of purpose, lets me be creative, but also gives me freedom to travel when I want and to work ideally when I would like to. I don't like jobs that limit on when. I don't like jobs that have a limit on when I do them. So then I looked into what jobs I could do, and I decided that writing jobs, writing about my travels, is something I want to practice more, but also maybe find a job in. So that's why one of my goals is to write more, write about my travels every day. Doesn't have to be too much, just something every day. And then as well as writing my travels, another thing is to look for jobs. I'd like to do that every day, stay consistent with that. But if I don't do it one day, I'll be honest and tell you, and I hope to use that as a way to keep myself accountable. Meditation is something I need to do more of. I don't do it enough. I'll have moments to myself. And then anything else I notice myself doing often, I think is positive, I will document, I'll let you know. When I'm out on an adventure, hitchhiking, my day consists of a lot of things: talking to new people, finding places for cheap food, free places to stay, and a lot of hitchhiking. I like to travel by hitchhiking, and that is an experience in itself, a very immersive, chaotic, adventurous experience. Very fun, but also doesn't leave much time for much else. So that's why I hope to use these videos as a way of keeping myself anchored and documenting my adventures, because they are really fun, and yeah, showing how I feel, what I think along the way. Okay, with that background done, well, yesterday for half the day really was at her place, packing my bag. I had loads of mess in my backpack, with one like burst tube of cream, which was contained in my idea of a wash bag essentially, which was one of those sealable plastic bags from the airport. So I just had to clean that up because I just left it as a mess for so long. Went through my bags and went to see if there's anything I could get rid of, and there was a bunch of things actually I did, which is very nice. A little bit of a clear out on a backpack trip. Rarely happens, but when you have the time, you go and do it. I did spend a fair bit of time relaxing, a bit of procrastinating, but I feel like I had to get it out of my system because I know on these hitchhiking trips I don't have time. I don't have too much time for myself. Unfortunately didn't do anything with the local I was staying with, but she was busy a lot with her work too. But yeah, so that morning was just spent still really uncertain of the direction geographically I wanted to go. I decided the evening before that I wanted to get into writing jobs, and of course life is all about changing decisions and adapting, so that might not be what I do for the next few years, but right now that is what I'm thinking about. But yeah, I had my clothes to dry, got that done. This one's just dried on me, that's why I wore it again. And around 1:30 we said goodbye. I think she should be my hero of the day. She hosted me the past few nights. I contacted her on one of these websites where you can contact locals, and she was the only one in all of Uruguay on this one particular site that I found who accepted me. So I'd say that's hero worthy enough. But it's been great to be based somewhere, because hitchhiking trips are so chaotic. I don't show you enough, but every day usually I'm staying somewhere completely different. Essentially living half on survival mode and half on happy-go-lucky mode. So left 1:30, I walked down this very sunny road in La Paloma. 40 minutes later, and we're at a roundabout. I catch a ride there to Rocha, the next big town, with a father and a son. And then, yeah, I hitchhike by this roundabout. And not too long later, this family stops in the middle of the road. When someone stops in the middle of the road, I get like a heightened sense of adrenaline, because I don't want to keep people waiting behind. And it was a father, a daughter, and a little baby in the back. And I said, I'm going Montevideo. Are you going there too? And not like that, but I said, I'm going Montevideo. And he said, come jump in. And so I dashed around the car. I was careful about throwing my backpack in. Usually I ask people, is it okay if my backpack's here? That's a good tip for hitchhiking. Always ask where to put the backpack, because sometimes they have fragile things in the back, or they don't want the dirty backpack on certain things. But in particular at the back there was a baby, so I was going to be a little more careful about where I threw it. I put it in the middle, then hopped in, and away we were on the journey to Montevideo. I don't know how long the journey was, but it was at least an hour. I want to say an hour and a half. It's a long distance, Montevideo, from where I was picked up. And then, as is the classic journey of getting to know people that give you a ride when you're hitchhiking. So they were going to Montevideo, not only because they live there, but because both his daughter and the baby were bitten by a dog of a friend of a dog of a family friend. And the 13-year-old daughter showed me the bite mark on her leg, yeah, it looks pretty bad, but it was fun to be a little bit part of their story as well. They were going to leave where they were staying for holiday tomorrow, but because they were bitten by a dog, they had to accelerate going back home a little bit sooner. So it was interesting hearing about their story and about their life, and yeah, it's really I don't often get picked up by family, so it was very nice to be picked up by them, and very refreshing. I love meeting all kinds of people on my travels, so yeah, it's nice through the hitchhiking experience to experience the plethora, the range of people you come across. And then they dropped me off by some park near Tres Cruces bus station, and then yeah, nice wonderful little hitchhiking story. They could be the heroes of the day as well. I think my most interesting story moment, I have to come a bit later, when I decide to treat myself, but that leads to a rather big mistake. So I'm at Montevideo, and I'm in Montevideo, and I decide I want to use up the cash that I have accumulated from a couple of experiences in Uruguay, because I'm soon leaving Uruguay, and I consider, which is rare for me, I consider a night in a hostel. Now, the way I do my adventures is extremely low budget, very challenge oriented. I tell myself every night I'm not spending any money on accommodation, but this time was different because I had a decent amount of money that I wanted to use up, I could spend on a hostel night. So before that, there's this program I'm watching with my family often, but before that there's this TV program I had to catch with my family. We're watching it together, The Traitors, UK, if you've ever watched that. I don't watch much TV, but that show is something else. So I had to catch that with my family, find Wi-Fi in the shopping centre, and once that finished, so it was 7:30, and it was the first time in a long time where I seriously considered getting a hostel. I looked at 2 cheap hostels on the way to Park Rodo, and I decided to look into those, see what the price is, see if I can negotiate down to maybe 500 pesos, and if I could negotiate down to 500 pesos, I would choose one of them. So I go walking, and it's this beautiful neighbourhood, loads of trees around. It's a very historic neighbourhood, actually probably one of the most beautiful parts of Montevideo, and for Montevideo that is something to celebrate. So I go to the first hostel, I talk to the guy, it's really hard to find, and he says they don't take reservations today. 2 things there. You need a reservation, and you can't take it on the same day. That's crazy. I've never had a hostel refuse me because they can't accept people on the same day. I don't know what the logic is of that, but it meant that I couldn't stay there tonight. So then I went walking to the other hostel, the one that potentially could have had a free breakfast in the morning, according to one of these hotel listing sites. So then I walk into the second hostel. I explained that I saw on one site it was listed for 500 pesos. And then he explains, hey, you forgot about one thing, city taxes. I was like, I thought so. Too good to be true. So it's for 600 pesos, which is, for here, pretty good value for money. It's around like $15, I want to say, which is, for a hostel night here, is as cheap as you'll get. And I did consider it, but considering there was no breakfast buffet the morning after, it was just one item, I decided against staying in the hostel. Yep, I know. I know what you're all thinking. What on earth? Why would you refuse a hostel night stay? Well, for good reason. Anyway, I leave. Before that, I use the Wi-Fi in the hostel, figure out my next plan. I won't be staying in a hostel, but I do want to find somewhere to treat myself, to eat somewhere here in Uruguay, in one of the most expensive countries this side of the world. So then as I'm looking at my options, someone comes in and they need somewhere to charge their phone, and I explain I don't have, I explain that I'm not there for very long. But then we start chatting, and it's this guy from Argentina and this older guy from Turkey. And in hostels, if you've ever been, you'll know that when you start talking to someone, not only is it hard to break away, but it's very easy to get into conversation. So we're talking a little bit about random stuff, as you do as travelers on the road. But after a while, I had to leave and find somewhere to eat and find an excuse to leave. So they seemed a bit shocked that I didn't want to stay in this hostel, considering it's one of the cheapest in the area. But I explained that my budget is not quite the budget of a typical budget backpacker, and for me, if I'm camping outside like I did right here last night, if I'm camping outside and spending that same money on food, I think that's a bit better value for money. So I left the hostel, and I rarely eat out, so I thought to myself, are there any all-you-can-eat buffets around here? So I absolutely love all-you-can-eat buffets. I love the freedom you have of being able to choose whatever food there is at the buffet, as well as how much to put on it and how long you can stay. So I was looking in the area for all-you-can-eat places, and being Uruguay and one of the most expensive countries, it was rather limited, but I did find this one Chinese place I liked the look of. It was very close, very walkable to this camping spot as well. So I decided I'd go there. I looked at the reviews at roughly how much it would cost, and I was torn about how much it would be, but I decided to go anyway. I head in, I nervously ask, hey, how much is it for an all-you-can-eat buffet? Do you do that kind of thing, or am I just too greedy for this kind of restaurant? And he said, yeah, we do. It'll be 1,100 pesos, which is 22 pounds, which is maybe $26, $27. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but considering it's cash and I will need to spend it anyway, I decided, you know what, it is a lot of money, but for the experience, for the enjoyment, for the rare occasion of letting myself eat out, let's do it. So I grab a plate and away we go. I try all kinds of things. There's loads of meats there, so I strategize. I go straight in for the meats. I don't even think about the rice, the noodles, or any carbs. I dive straight in. First plate, loads of meat, loads of things, spring rolls. Second plate of savory stuff, and after the second plate actually, I'm feeling pretty full already. So I go in for some sweet things a couple times, whole bunch of food. I couldn't give you any names of them, but a typical Chinese buffet place. But it's nice actually going to a Chinese place here. There's some food that of course is very much familiar, and other where it's a little bit more Uruguayan and not something you'd expect to see. And yeah, the sweet options were pretty interesting. There's one like fluffy white thing that you cut into it and it's just so soft. I don't know what it was, but it was pretty cool. But after I think 5 plates of eating various things, I noticed those smiles, those warm, hospitable smiles in the restaurant turned into faces of disgust, of disapproval. So I knew it was my time to leave then. But before that, I chatted with the guy at the counter. He seemed very friendly, and I asked how much this drink was in the machine, because I had 1,300 pesos I wanted to use up, and 1,100 for sort of the buffet, so I only had 200 left for the drink. And I think, so he said it was just over, but he gave me the drink, and I was thinking, okay, I'll just have to pay like a slightly reduced price for the drink. But when the bill came, he said the drink was free, which is pretty very nice. I did not expect that, but just very nice. He gave me the drink for free. The only problem was I finished the drink and I went to go and pay for the food, and one of the owners looked at my drink and very precisely noticed that I hadn't paid for the drink, which was a little odd. And I tried explaining. I talked to him. Like, he let me get away without paying for it. But something wasn't communicated, and as I leave, she was very cross. But I really enjoyed that place. The staff there were pretty friendly, pretty joyful. But what made it maybe not the most interesting story, but the most story-esque story of the day was that I went in excited, eager, hungry, and because I flew too close to the sun, I had too much food. I walked out feeling a little regretful and very much full because I ate so much food. These all-you-can-eat buffets, they are an absolute nemesis when it comes to a budget-minded backpacker, because I love them, but it very much takes a lot of self-control. I had too much food, but it was a very nice experience, and it was very walkable from where I'm camping, where I did tonight. So it's the morning now. Is the video over? I hope to do this regularly. Today, I'm going to walk out of Montevideo, hitchhike out of Uruguay. We might leave Uruguay today, but our next plan is, oh, hang on, there's something on my, anyway, I remember telling you that I was torn between where to go geographically next from Uruguay, because I feel like with Uruguay, it's very expensive. There's not so much to explore. I could have explored the north, to be honest. I was very curious about that part of Uruguay, but instead I've decided to just go back to hitchhiking extremely fast, extremely chaotically. Not extremely chaotically though, because we have a direction in mind. The options were between Brazil, where Carnival takes place in February and March, which would be an absolutely phenomenal experience to experience, as well as the parties there, the life, everything that Brazil has to offer. Second option was going south, further south, to Patagonia, the most mentioned area of South America on this trip so far and in other trips. It has an incredible crystal reputation for being this incredible place to explore, for hiking, for adventures. I've always wanted to go, and now would be the perfect time to visit that area. If I went to Brazil and then to Patagonia, it'd be too late. And to me, it just made logical sense to decide to go to Patagonia. So I'm going to hitchhike into Argentina, and I'm going to hitchhike the entire length of Argentina, one of the biggest countries in the world, going all through Patagonia, which is a massive region in the south, all the way to the southern tip in Ushuaia, where all the Antarctic ships go, and considered to be the end of the world by many. I'm extremely excited. It is a bucket list thing to hitchhike Patagonia, to hitchhike that part of the world. It doesn't feel real. I'm on this adventure doing it. I also feel guilty because I'm not working right now. I do want to find some work, but I know that will come in due time. I have to be patient with it. As long as I stay consistent, that's the problem. I'm hoping these videos help. I can have a few off days, but I want to stay consistent with it. But let's think about what's next. I'm going to Patagonia. It'll take a long time to get down there, but that's where I'll be hitchhiking to. I can't wait to explore, to document this whole hitchhike journey with you, where you get to be a part of it every single day. I'm filming as I go along. I don't know how much of the footage I'm going to be showing in these videos, editing takes a long time and I'm a one man on a mission. So that'll be it. I'm now going to walk in that direction, actually use the remaining money that I've got. I have 200 pesos here, so I'm going to use the remaining cash somewhere in some shop. We're going to explore some more of Montevideo, but ultimately very soon leaving here and heading for the western borders. I could go back to Fray Bentos, where I entered from, or actually take the road to Paysandú, one of the biggest cities here actually, and very close to the Argentinian border. I'm not sure where I'll go. I need to check the map to see where a good hitchhiking spot is. With that said, it's the end of the video. Hopefully the first of many, although the first few will be the most difficult to record and to really know what direction I'm going with this. I've told you what habits I've been consistent with. I didn't apply for any jobs yesterday. I didn't learn any Spanish. I didn't listen to any podcasts. I didn't meditate. I did not meditate, but I'm hoping this will be the start of a new change. What did I learn yesterday? I learned lots of mess with all-you-can-eat buffets. If you want to stay with me on this journey, like this video as if you're hitchhiking. It'd be good practice. Anyway, I'm going to walk off into the morning sun here in Montevideo. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.